Yep, and we are off and underway. Uncle is off to find the windfish. He'll get there eventually. I believe in him. Oh, that's an instant ice rod out of Link's house, which is kind of nice to get out of the way immediately.
Absolutely, and yeah, I may actually be looking at some a little bit older info. Challenge might not have updated quite so much. But apparently, Drax 8-1 and Elm's 5-3. Still very important to get these wins here because of the fact that you need to kind of solidify your position. But let's see what Uncle's got. Canberna. Start with.
Yep, and also we're noting we got a map check for Illus pretty early. It had the pendant at Tower of Hera, just regular pendant, a 5-6 crystal at Eastern, and a regular crystal over at Desert Palace.
And some bombs in the chest next to Uncle, so here we go. So what are the flags up at the top here? Well, if you take a look very quickly, we have from left to right, we have Ganon, standard. So obviously Ganon means defeat Ganon. That's the one thing you have to do. Zelda meaning that this is a standard seed, so you have to do the Zelda rescue, the curly sword. The question mark sword means that swords are randomized, and the N means that we're in normal mode.
And we are going to go through this escape sequence here. The main thing of standard is you open up with the vanilla escape sequence. Canberna is one of the easier weapons to get through escape with, especially when you know that its knockback always sends things upwards.
Indeed, and just a very quick note here for those who are saying, boy, they both sound like robots. Apparently, we're having some issues with on Discord's end, so we'll keep working through it. But for now, enjoy your commentary from your robot overlords.
Making use of that ice rod here is quite enjoyable, especially because the ice rod kills blue guards in one hit. The only reason ice rod can't be a weapon from Uncle to begin with is that there's one green guard you have to kill, the one that Illus is, just finished killing before the boomerang room, and that cannot be killed by the ice rod alone.
I love the strategy from Elm using the using the ice rod on that green guard to kill the knight. You don't get to see that too often on that ball and chain guard. And Illus is picking the more traditional, I guess you could say, way to do it when you're doing it swordless. Use the pots. 2 of them will do the trick.
I gotta give shout-outs to Elm. That is my favorite way to kill that guard.
Indeed. Oh my gosh, I think our voices, we're becoming human again. We're becoming human again. This is good. But both runners now taking Zelda up to the throne room. We'll see them go through the sewer, pick up the 4 chests that are in there. You've watched a standard seed before. You kind of probably know what the deal is here. You go to Sanctuary, pick up that chest, and then it opens up into the traditional open start.
Yep, and if you haven't seen one of these seeds before, it's worth noting that they're going to be going through the sewers, which are dark rooms, but they're going to have a lamp cone. That's not going to exist after they get out of the sewer. Well, it'll exist in the sewers forever, but it won't exist anywhere else until they find the lamp. It's a concession to increase how much the lamp can be randomized in the mode, while also, keeping in the spirit of having that dark room there.
Absolutely, because otherwise you would have to have a forced lamp here in this early part in any standard seed. And of course, in the vanilla game, this lamp is the very first thing that you get, so makes sense that the game was designed for a standard escape with the lamp required, so we've added that programming in here too.
I'm not gonna lie, personally I would not mind just getting the lamp early every standard seed. It would be a nice change not having to worry about dark rooms ever. And we did see them get the vanilla small key in that chest in the cross room there. It is a requirement to make it through there. I'm throwing more frozen enemies at other enemies. I love it.
You got that ice rod, you might as well, right? Make use of it.
Ice rod being your, go mode item so often. When you get it early, might as well show that it's actually a worthwhile item sometimes.
Nothing really in Escape, it looks like here. Just some bombs, some hearts, and usual whatnot. One interesting thing too. Oh, sorry about that. But I was going to say one interesting thing too is that I assume because we got Ice Rod right from the start, Turtle Rock's not going to be required.
I wouldn't be surprised. I was just going to throw in that between the couple of bomb drops and the money drops, they do have enough money and bombs for all of Kakariko, which is at least one positive out of the relatively barren start.
Indeed, just the big 20 there in the Sanctuary chest, so now we'll get to see where does everybody go. I assume we're going to see everybody go to Lost Woods and Kakariko. That's usually when you're doing a standard seed, you're already up here, so you might as well go ahead and do it.
Yep, there is a variety of options at the start. Most people are going to go straight over this way, as you mentioned. There's some cases to be made for going elsewhere first, but not usually a major thing. I'm finding yet another big 20 down here in the Thieves Drop. We've gotten a lot of those so far.
And that won't be too bad. That's 100 rupees. That's enough for the bottle vendor, so we'll get to check that as well.
Yep, and if they nab the rupees in Blind's Hut and the well on the way, they'll have enough to fill up their bomb capacity before leaving the town as well. But at some point, the seed does have to give them something.
This could be the most linear seed we've ever seen. It literally just gives you one thing that leads immediately to the next thing, which leads immediately to the next thing. No sidetracking allowed.
Just NMG, but with slightly different item locations.
And Wall's asking in the chat here, Wall6996 asking about the different seed conditions here for the tournament. The way this is set up, and we'll go over this very briefly, is that each runner plays 3 races against the other runners in their groups. So they'll play a total of 15, because each group, there's 96 runners, and there are 16 groups, so each group has 6 runners in it. And you can't play yourself. That's against the laws of time and space. But as we see here, Illus opening, getting some hearts, rupees, and more rupees. But each runner gets to play 3 games against each other. The first 2 are decided by each runner, so each of them gets to pick one. Higher seeded runner gets to pick first, and then the other runner will pick the second race, which Illus has picked this one. Let's see what's in the well here. It's a piece of heart, and we got 3 more chests to open up. And the third race is determined. Oh, there's the bottle. So they get Sick Kid, Quake, and a heart. But the third race is determined by a bot, and each runner will get the opportunity to veto a run choice that they may not want. So they each get one of those. And if they both use their vetoes, then the third choice, as determined by the bot, will be the run.
If in the bot, it shows no mercy. There have been a lot of interesting seeds that the bot has forced that people didn't choose themselves.
Yeah, it's kind of the thing is, with the veto power, is that you can kind of choose a seed that maybe veto a seed that you may not be too friendly about. It's a big 5 from the Sick Kid, unfortunately. But you run the risk of you using your veto early and then having to either wait and see what the bot chooses, and maybe the bot picks a worse seed for you, or maybe the bot picks one that your opponent really wants, and now you're like, well, shoot.
And as one follow-up to a connected question in the chat, the veto order is chosen by the higher seed. The higher seed can choose to veto first or second. depending on what they want to veto, how they want to use it.
Yeah, so there actually is some strategy with that, which is kind of interesting. And we saw a very quick map check there from Elminster. I did catch that we had a crystal at Desert Palace. Yeah, it looks like we had one. I think we saw one at Eastern. Yeah, our wonderful trackers indicating that we do have one at Eastern Palace and a pendant at Tower of Hera.
Yeah, Illus gave a really quick one at the very beginning there, while we were still being a little bit robotic. And Elm is going to go down here to buy bombs. He didn't just stop on his way in Kakariko. I'm assuming in case he had to use a bomb on the race game, then he would be able to get his full value of the bombs possible instead of leaving here with 9.
Yep, and we're seeing a little bit of a difference here. This is kind of, there's the two ways that people do the race game, and we saw both of them. Illus is doing the kind of one route here, which is you do save and quit, gonna save and quit when he sees that 1 rupee, not worth it. But you do it blind, or you go down, you check, and you see if the item at the end is worth your time going back up to do it. If you do it blind and it's useful, then you save a bit of time. If you drop down and check it and it's not useful, like it was today, you save a little bit of time. Green pendants in Palace of Darkness.
It's a good bit of info to know, and we're seeing the first bit of divergence here. Elm heading over to Sahasrara and the Eastern Palace area. Illa's heading toward the South Shore. They're both going to probably hit these areas eventually, but going about them in a little bit different way.
Yeah, I was a little bit interested that we didn't see a very quick Lake Hylia Island check from Elminster, jumping into the water and just getting the screen to scroll down and show what's on the island. Especially since he went down to the bomb shop by Lake Hylia to get those bombs. But maybe thinking we'll check it later, one routing in Hobo. That could be a possibility.
Yeah, very possible. We get a heart container underneath the water here, and Elm is going to go ahead and dive into Eastern Palace and see what the 2 to 3 items you can access in here are.
Absolutely. And for those wondering, there's no wrong play at this point, as some people might say. Really, there's no wrong. Very rarely are there quote-unquote wrong plays in Rando. There's just routing decisions that tend to benefit one runner by getting something early over another. Yeah, especially this early on when you're looking at all of these items. Just a big 50. There's some bombs. Another big 50 in Mini Moldorm Cave. There's the lamp, that'll help out. And 300 rupees.
That also means that assuming Elm goes ahead and does the sequence break to the vanilla big key chest, that's actually in logic as far as the seed is concerned, even though it's a sequence break for him due to order of routing.
Yeah, it's one of those things too that, yeah, especially early on with all of these things that are still open to check, routing does play a little bit of a role into it, but any quote-unquote lead that a runner may have is certainly not really a lead. It's just kind of a, I guess, kind of a little bit of a heads up.
Yeah, become really the first time that you can call a lead, so to speak, is when both runners hit go mode and you know how much they have left, and whoo, magic mirror.
Absolutely. Meanwhile, Elminster getting the blue mail, also picking up a hint, a piece of hearts above the pose. So that's our wonderful hint tile system using the telepathic tiles. You would normally talk to Sahasrara through those, but in version 30 we've replaced those with hints, and 5 of them are direct hints, 5 are trolley hints, and the rest are kind of like ambiguous hints that might tell you where something is, but you get just barely enough detail, like a unique item is located here.
And Elm now, or Illus now, following in Elm's footsteps over to Eastern Palace. We'll see where Elm is going to go after this, but he's got this one last chest to check. And at some point we have to get something, right?
I would think so. We're kind of get the mirror. There's the gloves. Okay, so that was one of the things that we're looking for. Just something to open up the seed a little bit more. Get Death Mountain in access now. 100% in logic for Illus, and Elm will also probably head up there at some point after getting the lamp.
Yep, and just gotta hope that he does go all the way to Ice Rod Cave. That's one of those locations that sometimes people will choose to put off, and with it having the mirror and going up to Death Mountain soon, that could be bad. I don't see Elm skipping it, but it would be kind of a negative for him if he did.
So I feel like looking at what we've got so far between Illus and Elm right now with their Eastern Palace and their South Hyrule plays, Tower of Hera has got to be where it's sending people for the next progression item, because you have the mirror, you have the lamp, you have the gloves, you have everything you need to get up to Death Mountain and into the Tower of Hera.
Of course, if that's the case, it's very, very rude of the Seed, given that we don't have any way to hurt Moldorm. Even though he's a pendant, if there's an item on him, you would rather just get it while you're there.
Absolutely. You may have to kind of double dip that, and that would not be fun. But then again, maybe you find both the items hanging out, and the last thing's like a map or something, and you don't have to worry about it.
We can all dream, but I can't rely on this game to not do the meanest thing it possibly can.
Oh yeah, never rely on it, Mentos. Never rely on it not to be mean. But just a very quick addition to the hint thing. We never actually talked about the hint that Elm got, which was that there's a piece of heart above the pose. That is Graveyard Ledge. So we know there's a piece of heart up there. That's actually a really nice hint, because that will mean that's a location you don't have to check, and it's not an easy location to get to.
Yeah, it's one of those ones people always try to avoid, but eventually you gotta go sometimes.
Yeah, the routing for that, and we'll see it here from Illus again. A piece of heart is above the pose. Again, indicates Graveyard Ledge has a piece of heart in it. It's just very tough to route in here.
Elm is going to get his mirror, and I gotta assume his next stop is Death Mountain. He's got that, Zora, but he can't check the waterfall while he's up there, or Agina's cave is pretty much all that's left.
Yes, indeed. So, by the way, we do have some wonderful sprite artists who put together a lot of these awesome sprites that you can use in the randomizer. And we've got two different sprites here. Obviously, on the left here with Illus, we got Cherno, the wonderful ice fairy, and we had chat wondering what the blue male would do. It just changes her hair ribbon color apparently. And on the right, Elm's playing with a Link. I think that's the Twilight Princess Link.
I'm not sure. There were so many new sprites added recently, I can't keep track of them all.
Yeah, we have now in version 30, we've got over 130 different sprites you can pick from. There's variations on Link that are really cool. There's Zelda. You know, I've got completely different characters from other games that are in here now too. It's crazy, and it's a lot of work, and our sprite devs do some fantastic jobs getting all of these things to play nice with the game and look nice. And just shout outs to them.
A minor divergence here. Elm going straight up Death Mountain. Illus is going to check the Lumberjack Cave, find out if Aghanim's going to be required for this item. No. I mean, I guess there's a chance they're really, really desperate for money an hour and a half from now, and they're like, you know what, our best option is to do Aghanim for 20 bucks, but I find that very unlikely. And sitting atop Spectacle Rock is the book, which will now send them over the desert, probably. Hooray.
You get a couple of checks of these tablets as well, so that will be a little bit of nice info. Be able to actually check both of them with the mirror at this time, so we'll be able to get the. Actually, no, you can't get Bombas yet because you can't get to the Dark World quite yet. We need the hammer for that.
Yeah, they will be able to check it on their early checks of the Dark World, however, which is a nice boon. just a little piece of love on the ether tablet, so never coming back there with a sword ever again.
Indeed. I'll be very interested to see here if Illus decides to hop down rather than go into Turtle Rock here. Not going to go in. No, guys, just bypass it for now, because there's a hint on the other side there where the bloomerang is. And I don't think we've seen either runner go over there and pick it up yet.
Yeah, Illus might plan to go down there after Hera, so that he can just save and quit out of it. The bow needs fire in Tower of Hera. Okay, then.
Okay.
So, Force Double Dip Eastern Palace confirmed.
And that means that the bow is going to be locked in the basement, which means we need the small key. And I think as soon as we find the small key, which maybe I hope for our runner's sake, it's not sitting there on Moldorm. That would be pretty rough.
Agreed. And worth noting Elm's strategy here in this beetle room. If you fall down those holes, the beetles don't respawn, so you use the 2 pots in the room to kill them off as much as you can, fall down the hole, and then hop back up the stairs and use the pots again. It is pretty much the only option they have that's super viable right now. Otherwise, they'd have to try to bomb stun them into the holes, which is much more of a pain.
Unique item is an Eastern Palace. Could be anything. We've opened up a lot already, so we do have the mitts already. That could be in fact, that could even be the unique item that the game's talking about. And we'll see now. If this is the map, then that means that Moldorm has the key, which means we're coming back. No.
That is just rude. Now watch, we're gonna go to Desert, and we're gonna find a level 1 sword in there. And then we're gonna have to go back to Eastern, or back to Hera to get the bow, to go back to Eastern to get, like, the hammer or something. This seed is being mean.
Is Agina's Cave gonna have it? Are we gonna see the return of Agony Cave? Where our runners could have accessed this about 10 minutes ago, and because of the routing choice, they both went right instead of going left into Desert, where the sword might have been.
I'm not gonna lie and say I wouldn't get some amusement out of that. Bush crab / rock crab having some 5 rupee drops, not super valuable at all.
Nope. Runner Watcher, please. Suggesting that if Desert is boots locked. Don't put that evil on them.
And I don't know, that might mean early boots at this point, because we're running out of options. I think Desert has to have something.
Could be Zora too. That could be the other possibility. And Chad is pointing that out at the same time, that we could have a Zora required run here. Both our runners have enough money to do it. Okay, so we got cash in a chest requiring a specialist to unlock. That is the purple chest hint. And that means that Gary's probably also not going to be showing up in this seed to open up that chest.
Well, on Illus's side, he won't be. On Elm's side, he didn't check that hint. He says he often doesn't. There's that hammer.
Well, that too could be the key to actually opening up Tower of Hera, because you can beat Moldorm with the hammer. So that could be it. That's also going to give you Dark World access too.
Well, they still need Pearl, so
yeah.
Now that might just be chilling on the Armos Knights.
I did say access, not necessarily able to complete, but you can get to the Dark World. You'd just be in a bunny state.
That's very true. I'll give it to you. And yeah, Elm didn't get the hint on Spectacle Rock. He even said in the interview after the last race that he tends to not jump in there and check that hint. He tends to check the item. So he's unlikely to ever see that hint. So he'll probably end up doing Purple Chest at some point.
It's possible. Seed may be very kind and give him everything that he needs in the right direction before he even has to go do that. So we'll see. We'll have to see what the routing choices for Elm is. See if it requires him to go back to Dark World Kakariko and do all of that.
So Illus just bought 2 green potions, one to fill up his magic, one to have it as a refill. presumably to protect himself against a potential Landmo fight. That said, he's now under 500 rupees, so if Zora is important, and he's going to have to find more rupees to be able to afford that.
Right. The one nice thing about the randomizer logic is that the game does take into account that, you know, if you are below 500 rupees and there's an item on, oh god, it's Boots Lock Runner.
At least it's just Lambo that's boots locked, and we got the hammer out of it. That's kind of friendly, right?
Yes. But yeah, the game's logic, when laying out the seed, does not take money into account for Zora. It says, you know, if Zora has an item that you need and you don't have the money, you will farm it. And we will certainly see here for Illus some farming if we have to go to Zora, but perhaps not, because Elm's got that hammer. Maybe this is a trip back up to Tower of Hera to finish out the dungeon, get that bow.
I'd assume so, and worth noting on Illus's side as a bit of future reference if they watch this back, there's a cave underneath a large rock on the way to desert. It's the bottom of two large rocks in one of those little alcoves that has 50 rupees under pots per entrance. He's sitting 27 short of Zora. He could have dipped in there once, gotten himself back over 500, and that way there, if Zora did end up being required, he would have the money without going out of his way.
That is indeed correct. And one of the other things, too, to keep in mind, I did mention the Dark World access. You will be in bunny form. But since you can mirror, if you're careful enough, you could probably make it all the way over to where the Bombo's tablet is, mirror over there, and then check the tablet right now if you wanted to. But I don't think that's going to be a routing choice we'll see a lot of people make.
That one is definitely impossible until you start using some major glitches. Because all the Dark World portals are blocked by either hammer pegs or rocks you have to either hit or lift, and Bunny can do neither of those.
Oh no, I was talking about the... oh yeah, you're right, about the hammer. That's right, it's blocked by pegs. I'm sorry, I forgot that. Thank you, Mentos, for catching me on that.
No problem. That's why we avoid solo comms for those exact kind of moments.
Indeed. And that was more just I forgot about the pegs on the dark side there for a moment.
I've made that mistake too many times to ever forget about that again. So here we go, Hammer Moldorm. Which is significantly easier than Fighter Sword Moldorm. Get our small key, and off to the basement we go. He could have just skipped picking up that pendant to save a little bit of animation time, but in the event that the pedestal becomes required, that would really hurt, so it's much more worth to just pick that up.
Indeed, now with the hammer, we're going to see Elminster go ahead and take care of the basement here. Going to get a coffee break in, so maybe a good time to put a little bit of coffee in the coffee pot, brew up something nice, make yourself a nice warm toasty drink on this, well, at least it's cold here on this Friday.
So while we got this coffee break going on, let's just review what this seed has made them do. It made them go to the South Shore to get the lamp and the mirror, to go into Eastern, where they use that lamp to get the glove out of the vanilla big key chest, to go up Death Mountain, where they got the book off of Spectral Rock, to go down to Desert, where they got the hammer off of the ledge, to go back to Eastern to go fight Armos, most likely. There's a chance of Zora in there, but it's just making them walk back and forth over and over and over and over.
I did mention this being a linear... I just joked about it being a linear seed earlier on, and it's fairly linear, and not linear in the nice way, linear in the cruel way, because we're seeing all these double dips. There's the bow, of course. The hit told us that. And we're going to see Elm go ahead and dip out. Maybe even go, since you have the hammer, probably go over to East Death Mountain and clear out Paradox Cave, Spiral Cave, and just get these chucks out of the way.
You know, I'm not gonna lie, I somewhat forgot that this was an option. I was so caught up on the fact that we were gonna have to go back up here for bow that by getting hammer, I forgot it opened other things too.
Just a piece of heart on the floating island. We'll see Elm do Spiral Cave to get down, and then Paradox Cave to head back up.
Spiral Cave without boots and with hammer as your only weapon is very, very annoying. Instead, Elm is handling it nicely, just kind of tanking the mini Trolldorms. With the blue mail, they're not super scary.
Yeah, we're seeing Illus go ahead and take care of Hammer. Oh, just got pinged right at the end there. I think it was one hammer shot away.
Womp 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 womp.
So we got ourselves a vanilla rando seed and walked our way into a swordless one so far.
Well, I have no complaints. Another fall. Moldorm is one of those bosses that can go wrong quickly, and when it does is very wrong.
Yeah, it kind of messes with you a little bit. It gets frustrated. You have to reset mentally and just deal with the movement patterns. Nothing so far in Paradox Cave. We found some hearts and the big 20. There's the Moon Pearl, so that's going to be a welcome sight for Elm. There's the red mail. And there's our first sword, finally, in Paradox Cave.
So Paradox Cave had all the goods they've been waiting for. I'm guessing Elm's play now is do Hype Cave and then head and clear out Eastern and probably Pod together.
That could be a pretty strong play at this point. We'll definitely see Hype Cave at this juncture. Don't know. Maybe we may see a dip into Pod. And we're getting a check here. The other pendant is going to be at Thieves Town, and the other red crystal is in Misery Mire. So, good news. We do have the ice rod required for go mode, and we got it very early, first chest. So that will be a little bit of a relief for both of our runners, not having to hunt that down.
Now, the bad news, of course, being that the pedestal is already in Logic.
Okay, not really delivering, unfortunately. We're seeing Elm go ahead and get the mirror out, so I think we're going to see a mirror back to the light world.
I'm not actually sure. Oh, he's going to check Bombo's tablet.
He's also going to check the hint here at Swamp Palace. You can check this hint on the right side.
Okay, so Magic Cape is on Sahasrara, so if anything is required on Bumper Cave, they're going to need to make their way through there.
It's going to be, it's going to Mentos. With the seeds, the way the seed's been going so far, I almost wonder if it's not going to be required simply because the seed is just like, yeah, I need you to do all of these things that you don't want to do. Can you go into Palace of Darkness 3 times? Thanks.
Illus over here using the bow to kill these enemies in Spiral Cave, which is a little bit easier for the most part. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Once Illus gets his Moon Pearl, it's going to be interesting to see how close these routes remain similar. So far, the seed has 100% forced them to the same route, and Elm is kind of gaining more and more time just based on execution. He is a fantastic runner in terms of execution level, and he's making the most of it right now with how linear this has been. If it opens up, that's when routing can come into play and can give Illus a hand and start making this a little bit less straightforward.
And just bombs on Stumpy. Stumpy, you've disappointed us again. See you tomorrow. And yeah, I would completely agree on this. Right now, Elm does have a lead, and it's execution based, especially with those extra falls that Illus took at Moldworm. That's going to help. It's going to help Elminster quite a bit. Hey, Master Sword. Hello.
I would have been so happy if Bombo's tablet had been worthwhile, so they got that sword right after checking it.
It's definitely not an unbeatable gap right now between Elm and Illus. It could certainly be some either routing choices or just, you know, even for someone like Elm, you get a tough fight here. Maybe something doesn't go right, and you end up with, you know, 20, 30, 40 second time loss, and maybe backtracking a little bit into a dungeon, and that will change the race considerably. It's still very close. It's still, there's a piece of heart in the digging game. Still well within the margin of error, if you want to say that this race could go either way. Still very early on too, so we'll see where these routing choices take our runners, and we'll see if anything in particular catches them out or is very kind to them.
But Elm going up here to the Dark World portal up at the top of Kakriko, gonna go check this area. He may make a point of going to check the pedestal right now as well, because, as mentioned, all three pedestal dungeons, pendant dungeons, are all completely in logic, so there's a decent chance it could be required.
Yeah, I wouldn't pass it up right now. I think it's probably just good, even for, he's got the book out, he's doing that. Yeah, just peace of mind, knowing that, you know, you get a check and he's like, hey, is this ped required? I can go ahead and complete those dungeons right now, get them off the board, and get my pet item very quickly rather than flailing about in dungeons and double, triple dipping some of them. Just couch cash though, so not ped. Ped is dead. Sorry, everybody.
Rip in pieces pedestal, and we are getting some major diversions now, and that Illus took this eastern and northeastern route, went up and checked Pyramid, and it looks like he's going to be making that pod play. So this is actually our first instance of them making notably different decisions.
Indeed, it's very. I think both decisions are good for each runner based on where they're at. Obviously, Illus probably looking at what they've got and saying pod eastern completion is doable. Elm saying, you know, maybe with the way that these pendants are laid out, it could be a ped seed. I'm going to be going up here maybe to do Thieves Town or go into Skull Woods. I might as well check the pedestal and get that peace of mind one way or another.
Yeah, it's a nice bit of info for him, and he's also, I would guess, likely going to be checking the bumper cave on his way out of Skull Woods, seeing if that green pendant is required, since he knows what it's going to give him.
Indeed, it's one of those things where there's ether medallion. I almost said tablet. Ether medallion showing up in Skull Woods. That's one item, but Elm seeming to go for the route that gets the most item checks here. We're getting quite a bit of information as well, which is good. Get some of these far away locations checked.
Very well done on the switch room there. That room can be a pain if you mismanage those Gyptos a little bit. He gets everyone's favorite item from a dungeon, a compass. Illus is in the midst of the part of pod where you're just getting keys everywhere. For those who aren't familiar with pod key logic, out of the 6 chests in the front of the dungeon, at least 4 of them will be keys.
And we know now that the fire rod is hammer locked, which both runners now have, but it does open up some location possibilities for where that's at.
Come on, left side swamp.
Yeah, there are 4 keys and 2 items in the front of Palace of Darkness, simply because we want to make sure with the logic that there's a jet, there's a sword shield.
And we got the Titan's Mitts on the Bumper Cave, so the green pendant and Sahasrara are required.
And that's a good bit of info for Elm to have. Illus is not going to know that until they go check Bumper Cave, but Elm now knows that Palace of Darkness has to be completed. On the other hand, Illus is probably going to complete Palace of Darkness, just flat out. We may get a blind check here of the green pendant turn-in from Illus, and that will ultimately be beneficial.
We do get Bombos on Elm's side, which takes away all the question of medallion shenanigans. But yeah, the even if Helmasaur doesn't have an item with him, having the green pendant and you already being over here, not killing him would probably be more of a risk than going through and killing him. So I expect Illus to do it.
Yeah, at this point, you're looking at the full clear Palace of Darkness. You may as well go ahead and get that kill on, because that's an extra item check. A lot of times it doesn't really do a lot, but you're here, you're going to be doing Eastern Palace probably to follow this up anyways. Why not? Do it on the way out. Get something for it. Get that square checked off on your tracker if you're using a tracker. I assume neither of these runners are, but that's just kind of the logic here. Is you're thinking of getting rid of as many item checks as you can to kind of narrow down the pool of what's available. And if you can, kind of streamline it to being within the dungeons, because then that's a lot easier to check all of those.
And Elm is making the play into Pendant Thieves Town. Gonna see if maybe there's something required in here. So far, I heart piece and bomb, so not so much.
Nope, and of course one of these chests is going to be the big key. Always has to be by logic. Can't progress past the first half to the second half without it.
What if something like Flute is in the back of Thieves Town with 3 items up front?
That would be mean.
Well, only 2 items up front, but Elm's still choosing to dip out, not go deeper, looking to see what the 2 items in the back are. I don't blame him. He knows that there is progression in Pod at the end by way of that Titan's Mid.
And Illus is going to be heading over to the Helmasaur King.
Yep, so little does he know this is actually a super important decision he's making right now. And just by virtue of his routing choice, assuming he checks that Bumper Cave, he'll have saved a lot of time on Elm by coming here first.
Indeed. So the one nice thing for Elm and for Illus as well eventually will be that all 3 of the medallions have been found. And I believe that means that our runners will not have to worry about being medallion locked out of Misery Mire or Turtle Rock at any point.
Yep, and unfortunately, I haven't actually, I'm not actually sure if we've gotten all 6 or all 5 items from Pod or not. So I don't know if Helma is going to have an item plus the green pendant or just the green pendant.
Well, we'll find out in just a moment.
First, we gotta go through the turtle room, which is undeniably the worst dark room, but with the lamp, pretty easy.
Yeah, the thing that makes it just so bad is dealing with the terror pins here. In the dark, you can't see where they're moving. You kind of have to guess at it. And you also kind of have to guess where they land upside down. So it's a bit of a mess, but this is a little bit easier. You just walk through them on the second try.
Gonna make a point of holding the sword out, extend the hammer's hitbox a little bit, and lower the potential for taking damage. since you'll just clink off of Helmasaur's mask instead of taking damage if he bumps into you. After losing his sword-holding position, though, he has chosen to go the more straightforward way of just spamming hammer shots at Helmasaur.
Little Red Riding Wood asking in chat, looks like a late and exciting info on the seed. Well, it's been a very interesting seed, and there's the map, of course, and the green pendant. So we know that green pendant is required. Illus picked it up, and Elm will get it as well. It is required to get the cape, which is in turn required to go up to Bumper Cave and get the Titan's Mitt. We've had a very long and interesting chain here of events where Eastern Palace didn't have anything too much, but we did get some hints. Ended up having to go to Tower of Hera. Oh yeah, Eastern Palace did have the first lift upgrade at the end. And then we ended up having to go to Tower of Hera with the mirror and the lift upgrade to get up to Desert Mountain, to go to the Tower of Hera, to go inside, to find that the bow is in there, but it's locked inside the basement chest. And the key, the small key, is on Moldorm, and we didn't have anything to fight it with. So we had to get the book off of Spectacle Rock to go to Desert Palace. The hammer is on the Desert Palace sledge. Come back, use the hammer to take care of Moldorm. Get the key, get the bow, come back, and now do Pod in Eastern.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't think I will ever get tired of thinking through how ridiculous that opening of the seed was.
Yeah, as an incoherent pointing in chat, it wasn't logically mandatory to double dip Hera, but you're almost never going to read that the book up on Spectacle Rock is immediately go to Desert Palace and get the hammer. Also, the big key for Desert Palace is boots locked, so you got to find the boots to complete that dungeon.
And Illus is going to be the first to take a crystal, assuming nothing ridiculous happens on Armos Nights, which would be very surprising.
In chat pointing out that I said Desert Mountain instead of Death Mountain, so I'm merging all of the locations together. And we're seeing the Armos Night fight now from Illus. Probably get a green pendant check after this.
Yeah, Illus messed up the quick kill a little bit, but made up for it decently and got 10 arrows back for his efforts.
So a little bit of something there. Elm went and checked the Harmless Hellway room. We saw Illus skip that simply because I think Illus was counting the... Oh, we're going to see a really cool thing there. From Illus using the bomb. If you're carrying a bomb, you walk through the portal like that. Because you're carrying a bomb, the game does not register you as being teleportable back to the Dark World. So you can just kind of walk right through it. And there's the magic cape.
Who'd have guessed that would be there? In fact, the person who wouldn't have guessed that that would be there is Illus, who got it by sheer stroke of luck, and now appears to be heading up to do Spike Cave.
You know, I can't say that this is the wrong call for this. There could be something in Spike Cave. We just might not know it yet. Obviously, we know that Titan's Mitts are on the Bumper Cave. Illus doesn't know that yet, has not been to that part of the Dark World. But there could still be something here in Spike Cave, so this could still be a very good play.
Yep, I like it. The Spike Cave is one of the more annoying locations to try to route in, so getting it out of the way when you're able, not a bad idea. Unfortunately for him, he could have lumped it in with Dark East Death Mountain if he knew where those mitts were, but not really a major difference in time taken, honestly.
Yeah, we did see a little bit of a time gain there, very ever so slight for Illus. I believe we saw some key counting there in Palace of Darkness, because Elminster went and opened up the Harmless Hellwave room, which had a key in it, and Illus skipped it. So Illus must have known that, just based on where the keys are placed and how many would be left, that was a key item in that one chest.
Yeah, counting keys in pod can give you 2 little time saves. One if you count the keys in the front appropriately, and then another if you count them in the back appropriately, with regards to the vanilla big key spot and the the harmless hellway.
The one thing that's going to be really nice here for Illus is going to check pedestal as well. Maybe thinking now with two pendants, it's worth a check. Can't say this is a bad decision at all. You know, you've got the next one is Thieves Town, so if it is pedestal, you are in a really good position to get that pet item very quickly. But of course, we know it's just couch cash, so we'll see Illus go up here and check this, and then probably go do Village of Outcasts, Skull Woods, and maybe get that Bumper Cave check in.
Yeah, if he wants to try to play on the green pendant pickup, which, you know, maybe if he's looking at this like, you know, okay, Elminster has really good execution, let me try to do things a little bit differently, he might push that play to the max and head straight to Bumper Cave very quickly, just to make sure that that green pendant pays off if it was going to pay off. We do know he's going to get nothing of value out of Skull Woods, because Elm already checked this a little bit earlier. They're now in the point of kind of tracing over each other's steps from that early divergence. Oh wait, this was Ether. That might be important.
Yeah, I think Elm might have found Bombos in here too, or found Bombos at some point. Probably maybe in Village of Outcasts, because we do have Elm having all 3 of the medallions.
Yeah, Bombos was in the C-shaped house, which I'm sure Illus will check soon. And he is going straight to that Bumper Cave, so he got the important stuff without taking the time to check that swamp hint.
Absolutely. So that turned out to be a... I think we kind of saw Illus for a moment there, just paused, like, wait, what? Is this required?
I was expecting garbage, and here you are, something valuable.
And getting a nice ledge walk there along the edge of the pit. There we go, Bumper Cave, and getting those shiny gold gloves.
Will be interesting to see if Illus decides to dip into Thieves Town, because he has really not that many options left either, in all honesty. I mean, Dark Death Mountain is open at 6 items, but, you know, you're here, Thieves Town is 4. Will he go in there and go deeper than Elm did?
It's a good question. We do have that hint that Fire Rod is hammer locked, so you know that's a thing that we're going to have to hunt down.
Oh, Fire Rod's in Thieves Town big chest.
Oh boy, that could be a possibility too.
And Illus will be getting a potentially be getting a little bit of a time save on Elm soon, because Elm with those mids might go ahead and check the blacksmith chain, and if he does, then he'll probably check purple chest, which Illus knows is nothing.
Yep. So we do know that the second sword upgrade's hiding out in the South of Grove Cave. That's the location for that. If you're wondering why Elm has the Master Sword and Illus has only the Fighter Sword, just a matter of checking out one location. Illus hasn't routed it in yet, probably will at some point. Elm came from the south to the north of Village of Outcasts, so just a routing decision.
So So Illus at least going to check these front four, then we'll see if he diverges from what Elm did and heads deeper or not. Elm, meanwhile, going to go pick up his Titan's mitts, and then we'll see where he heads. He has a few options, some better than others. You don't have the mitts yet, Elm. You're going to pick them up. You gotta wait a couple minutes.
And indeed, Illus does decide to just check the first floor and back out.
Definitely the safer play, and by the time he's done with this, I think he is actually... Well, he's still got to check Stumpy, Digging Game, and K45, so I think they're pretty much even at this point.
It's pretty crazy to think at, 55 minutes in, we're looking at two runners here, and neither's really gained a huge advantage over the other one.
Not to mention they're both at 1 crystal and 2 pendants completed almost an hour in. And these are both people who finished the qualifiers in the top 96, which goes to show that sometimes, no matter how good you are, the seed says, nah.
There's definitely cases where the seed basically relies you to make all the right decisions. You make one wrong decision and suddenly you're 5-10 minutes behind because you get led on the wrong path.
So Illa's gonna go grab the blacksmith, presumably, check out the hammer pegs. Oh, no. Oh, he's gonna check K45 Stumpy and then probably come back this way.
I'd assume so, because it's going to be very hard to route this in knowing you don't have to get the purple chest.
Yeah, there's really no good way to route this combination of stuff to check whatsoever.
Yep, so for go mode, we do need about 5 or 6 more items, I believe. I think it's 6 on the dot. We need, let's see here, boots, flippers, flute, fire rod, key to Samaria, and hook shot.
What even is this seed? Elm is making an interesting play, actually. He is heading toward either just flippers checks, or he might be considering the early Ice Palace play.
He's got a fake flipper here, so we'll see what he decides to do with the fake flipper.
I have to assume... Oh, no, he's going straight to ice. He's not even bothering with flippers checks. Ice gained a lot of value in V30 with the 3 hint tiles in here, but this is still a ballsy play.
Absolutely. You're looking at 3 items in here. You have the 3 hint tiles, as you mentioned, Mentos, but we've only got 3 items in here to get, so I don't know. We'll see if this pays off or not.
We find a big 20 in the hammer pegs. Now, it is worth noting that there are like 3 locations in here that are hammer locked, and we know the fire rod is in a hammer lock location. So, knowing how often fire rod likes to hide behind Bombos and Ice Palace, it might be here.
Well, technically, Gold Stair is hammer locked.
Elm just spent so much time going around spinning and trying to use bombs on those Pengators, when he could have just used the Quake Medallion and killed them all instantly.
Yeah, but it's a swag. Yeah, get those swag points in. And I think Illus is going to go back and complete the last half of these down here. Maybe we can look for that big chest item.
Okay, this is a major divergence at this point, because Elm's probably not going back here for quite a while. A unique item is in Swamp Palace. Good to know, I guess.
And We had a seed earlier where we had 3 unique items in Swamp Palace, even though the hint only said, oh, there's 1 in here, and it turned out to be all the Go Mode items.
Gotta love hints, and when sometimes they're completely useless, and sometimes they point you to a treasure trove indirectly.
And sometimes they tell you less than you probably need to know.
One day there will be a seed with a unique item, and a unique item are in the western wing of Swamp, and then you get over there and it's the bug net and the single arrow. The boots also requires the hammer.
Well, I think we can start to put together that there are multiple hammer locked items in this seed, and they're in different places.
And that is upping the odds that this Ice Palace play is going to pay off for Elm, because there aren't that many straight hammerlock locations we haven't seen. That said, that hint about the unique item in Swamp Palace and the one about the hammerlock boots could be the same thing.
That's absolutely correct. Or it could be talking about the hammerlocked fire rod. In fact, both those items could be within Swamp Palace. We could have one of those seeds that we were just talking about. Unique items in plain sight. So that's a little vague, but that probably is the Titan Smiths.
That or the book. You at least got those 2 so far.
Let me see Elm do the big scary bomb jump here. Gets it nicely done.
I didn't actually know that bars would just split like that when you use ether. I gotta remember that for the future.
Ooh, it's a small key. It's a good sign for something maybe being in Leaftown Big Chest.
Let's see what we get.
Aww.
A map. So Elm coming up on the second of 3 hammerlock locations in Ice Palace. And finds a small key. Boo. Also, yes, Fire Rod in Ice Palace. I was looking over at the Thieves Town Big Chest when he picked that up, but he did get the Fire Rod there, so that is a nice pickup. It's not really major just yet, but it's nice to have out of the way.
And to be in the bottle, hanging out here and let's get that mirror out.
So the remainder of Thieves Town was a bust. He now got the 3rd pendant, but obviously we know pedestal is nothing. So that turned out to be a little bit of time lost. Looks like he's going to head back into Skullwoods. We start out this cold stare fight on Elm's side. Bombos to take down the shell, and now Master Sword and Hammer to take out the eyeballs. He could have used Fire Rod if he had a little bit more magic left, but he used a lot of it on medallions throughout the dungeon.
Gonna be using that hammer to try and speed the fight up here a little bit, because the hammer will do some tempered sword damage, so we have a little bit of an easier fight, even though the hitbox for that hammer is a lot smaller. Elm is very, very skilled with execution, not having too much of a problem here, dodging those ice chunks from the ceiling and getting the job done.
That was a beautiful Hammer Master Sword cold stare fight. Illus now heading down here to the Dark World. Elm is going to take his newfound Fire Rod and his knowledge that, you know, Canis Amaria can't be in GT based on Ice Palace, you know, in addition to the fact that Meyer and T-Rock are crystals.
Illus is going to check the Bombos tablet now. Elm looks like going over to... Is he going to Spike Cave?
Dark East Death Mountain, most likely.
Oh yeah, that's right. He's gotta go, yeah, that's right. He's got to go up and around for that anyways.
I'd expect to see him use the T-Rock portal and then head in, or open T-Rock, head in and check the hint while he's up here as well. And looks like Illus is going to be right behind him.
Yeah, Illus looks like heading over to at Dark East Death Mountain. So I assume we'll see all the checks that are possible. So it'll be Super Bunny Cave and just a look at maybe opening up Turtle Rock at this point. Probably nothing more than that.
Took a step in the Paradox Cave and went, wait, I was here earlier. It had all the things. Now the ultimate question is, if you get Canis to Maria, you're probably just going to go right into TR, right?
I would think so. I mean, you're here, you might as well just go in. There's no real reason to wait at this point, especially if you're Elm. Illus will probably go in and dip and get all the way to Laser Bridge and realize, oh, Fire Rod's not in here, I gotta go out.
Oh, that'd be so sad if the keys worked out that way. Ooh, that's a useful hint. The hookshot is near Misery Mire, meaning that it's in the Mire Shed. So as soon as we get the flute, we know where the hookshot is.
Indeed, so that would mean that flute is going to be coming up first here.
And Illus also going to get the hint, so no lopsided bit of information there. Also, this seed has been stingy with the items, but they're sitting on 14 hearts, red mail, now level 2 shield. They're getting a lot of the defense help.
They sure are. It's very generous on how kind it's been with the health and with the medallion, not the medallions, with the mails and even the money. I think it's been really generous so far.
So, where is progression at this point? Catfish?
You know, Catfish is a possibility. We could see somebody fake flip. Maybe somebody tries to fake flipper and go into the waterfall cave. That would be sequence breaking, but there might be something there out of sequence that they could get.
Yeah, and I also keep forgetting Zora exists since we didn't check him earlier, so I guess you make the Catfish to Zora play and just cross your fingers, because I don't think they actually have anything left combined between the two of them.
I think Illus may be making that play right now, in fact. Going to the Dark World and then coming up from the south toward the north.
I believe Elm was also making a similar play, going to walk up to Zora, and then went, wait a second, if I just go down here, I can do Catfish and Zora.
Absolutely. That is a good thing that he remembered that. And indeed, we're seeing Illus go up, and I think Elm's also going to be heading up there to do Catfish and Zora.
At this point, we know once we get Flute, we have Hookshot. But we still have nothing indicating where the Flippers or Cane are, or Cane or Hookshot are. Flippers, I'm guessing, are what we're going to get here, followed by maybe the Flute in Misery Mire. Or not Misery Mire, in Swamp. And then it's just a matter of finding that Cane.
Which we know it's not going to be in Turtle Rock for sure. Maybe we find the cane now and have to go to Turtle Rock. Who knows?
Also very possible. Oh, we get the flute! My guest order was incorrect, as it often is.
That's all right though. It's a little bit hard. You're not the seed. It's not going to be something where you can guess. And if you do guess correctly all the time, then you may need to check if you're a robot.
I mean, the flute gets us hookshot, but if it only gets us hookshot, that doesn't do anything for either of these two. They're gonna need more than that.
Yeah, I still don't have flippers, so does that mean does this mean a trek back up? If they get hookshot here, does this mean a trek back up to Dark Death Mountain and go into Hookshot Cave and try and find something?
That's possible. Other option is when you get that hookshot after, ooh, silver arrows.
That's the least scammy thing they could have done. Thank you, King Zora.
So
you were actually nice.
He was. So when you get this hookshot out of Mire Shed, you don't have Kane. Do you jump into Mire? Do you just make the play on that?
You know, I think that as a runner, I think you have to think about what's left in the overworld, what's left to check. Are the numbers in my favor that Kane or some kind of progression is within Mire that might get me, you know, flippers, that might get me Kane, that might give me something to keep going here. I don't know, because you don't want to have to go back into Misery Mire twice. You really don't want to have to do that, especially don't want to have to go back into Turtle Rock twice. So I don't know.
Yeah, the big downside with, I mean, at this point, their only options would be, unless there's an extra bit of progression outside Mire, it would either be go into Mire or go back to Hookshot Cave. And that extra walk up Death Mountain is honestly almost as painful as an extra dip into Mire.
You're saying, Illus, go ahead and go get that hookshot right now out of the Mire Shed.
Yep, and Elm's surely about to follow on once he activates his flute.
Who knows? Maybe Hookshot and Kane of Samaria are both in Mire Shed. Who knows? There's a hookshot.
There's the hookshot.
And a piece of heart. Oh, I was gonna jump out of my seat and scream if both of them were in there.
That would have been fantastic. Now we're gonna go see the checkerboard cave as well. Let's be honest though, would this seed be nice enough to just give you the cane before jumping into Mire?
No, probably not.
And Illus is fluting away. He's going to take the Death Mountain trip. He's going to head over to Hookshot Cave. No, he's going to Ice
Palace.
Either Ice Palace or the fake flippers for flipper checks. One of the two.
I think it's just gonna be Ice Palace play. You got it as a dungeon. It's open. It's completable. You know, why not go in there, do the thing? Oh, actually, he's setting up for waterfall. Oh, we gotta check.
That was real close.
Lake Hilly Island first. Just a big 20 up there.
I would have been so happy if that were a progression item, and neither of them had checked it until an hour and 14 minutes in.
Meanwhile, Elminster's going to go into Misery Mire. Since you're already here, why not do it? You've already been inside Ice Palace. It's not open. This is kind of what the game would like you to do right now.
Yep, of the options available, I definitely personally prefer Elm's play here. It's nothing against the other play. They're both probably... Honestly, not going to Mire is probably the higher odds of the payoff, and by going into Ice, he's going to get his Fire Rod, but Mire just seems like it's what would be reasonable to do next.
Absolutely 100% reasonable for Elm. And I think the good thing for Illus is that this will get the the fire rod as well, so this is a good play.
Missed that little tentacle dude a few times with the fire rod, but gets him down eventually, and now making his way into the proper part of Mire.
So we'll see if this is a vanilla Mire location, or if we get some kind of other item here. Or maybe nothing at all.
Well, we got 3 bombs to begin with. That's not very exciting, and it leaves only 1 item remaining in Mire. And theoretically, Elm is probably just going to stick with this until he finds the big key, even if he finds the second item earlier, since he's going to need to find that when he would come back eventually anyway.
Indeed, and Bill asking in chat, have we got the hammer, have we got the boots hint yet? Yes, we have. Boots are hammer locked, so we need to find them in a location that is behind the hammer. Unique items in Swamp Palace, we saw that one a little bit earlier. It'd be very interesting if all of our unique items are once again in Swamp Palace with its multitude of chests to open.
We get the compass in the fire-locked side of Mire. You know, anecdotal experience tells me that the map is going to be the next chest that gets opened. I feel like a silly amount of times when I've seen map or compass on left side of Mire, the other one is waiting there.
And we're setting up that Ice Palace bomb jump. Having a little bit of difficulty getting it perfectly lined up here. I think he's got it this time. Yep.
Throwing out those little frustration slashes like, come on.
Happy slashes. Just very happy that got the Ice Palace bomb jump there.
Elminster showing off a lesser known fact that you can actually hookshot onto the telepathy tiles. Oh, what a shock. It was the map. Wow, I'm so surprised.
I thought you were going to talk about that great hint that Elm got. That beans on toast is great meal. Thank you for that, Christus.
It's definitely a helpful hint, you know, maybe not for rando, but, you know, it might be a good hint for life. So with no big key yet, Elm is going to come over here. He's going to get the big key out of this next chest, and then we'll find out what's in the big chest.
And we're seeing Illus do a full clear here of Ice Palace. Gonna be picking up that ice rod eventually.
And the second item is on Vidi, so no luck in Mire, and I'm guessing that'll lead to a hookshot cave play.
Yeah, you would think Hookshot Cave is probably going to have like the flippers, and then the flippers will lead us to the boots in Swamp Palace at this point, I think. Maybe the cane as well. But the cane could actually be in either location, which is very interesting about it.
Yeah, I mean, there aren't many locations left at this point, so it seems like we can pretty much guess out what the seed wants them to do, but this has just been mean from the start till now.
Yeah, so since we're pretty much down to Swamp Palace being the last real remaining hammerlock location, I think it's fairly safe to say that the boots are in Swamp Palace, somewhere in the back half of Swamp Palace probably, and we've got probably like I said, the flippers are probably in Hookshot Cave here. We'll see if Elm finds them.
What if we go into T-Rock and find the flippers on Laser Bridge?
Oh gosh, that would just be mean.
It wouldn't be so bad for these two since they both fake flipper into Ice Palace, but the logic perspective of that would just be funny.
Yeah, that is within logic too, so that could be a possibility. We could just have the King of Samaria showing up here, and then not leaving you to Turtle Rock, so...
Is through Super Bunny Cave, almost. He will be heading over to Hookshot Cave, where we can be pretty confident progression lies.
And Pure Gas in chat also pointing out could be a fetch quest item. Oh god, the fetch quest chain is still well within logic here. There's the King of Samaria, actually. There we go. Progression.
Speaking of that there, Cane of Samaria.
Thank goodness.
2 little heart pieces and a tempered sword, so they got to dive T-Rock.
Indeed, so that's probably where the flippers are at this point.
Although they could be on Vidi or on Pyramid Fairy as well, actually, and I think that might be more the realm that Elm is thinking. Okay, it looks like Elm might not be thinking any realm. He just kind of sat there and looked at the map for a second like, what was I gonna do?
So I think with Illus's earlier play, we may see a journey up to Death Mountain next. Probably to check Hookshot Cave. No, I'm just gonna go back in and throw out Mystery Mire. Interesting.
Yep, 3 items locked behind here makes sense. That said, he absolutely should have checked. T-Rock while he was up there. I think he saw that cane and thought, "Ooh, Misery Mire is open." Pulled out the flute, got going, and then thought, "Wait a second, T-Rock was full clearable. Why didn't I do that?" I think that's what his staring at the map for a few moments was, the realization that he shouldn't have fluted away from Death Mountain yet.
Yeah, but it's at that point too where once you really commit to something in Rando, it's often to your benefit to just go ahead and complete it. You lose more time doubling back on something rather than just going ahead and completing the thing that you have to do anyways. In this case, that would be taking care of Misery Mire. You're going to have to beat Vidi at some point. You already started to commit to do that. Just go ahead and do that and then get Turtle Rock back on the way back up.
Yeah, the only way it really comes back to bite him is if there is a progression item in T-Rock that's needed to get to the boots, I guess, because it's only flippers and boots we still need. So if the flippers are in T-Rock, then this will hurt him pretty noticeably. But if they're not, then he's in good shape. Buddy, you didn't need to flip that switch.
Yeah, so the one difference too with our dungeons completed for those keeping track at home, Illus has completed Thieves Town, was looking for an item, didn't find anything there. And we do have Elm now going to be finishing up Misery Mire first, so that will be a slight advantage on dungeon completion to Elm. But Illus may be able to claw back more time again. It's kind of been, the lead's kind of been flip-flopping back and forth here between these two.
I'm coming up on this Vidi fight with about half his magic and very little health, but he's got bow and silver arrows, so Vidi shouldn't be a problem. But even with he's got red potion. I was gonna say even with red mail, one wrong hit from Vidi can take you down.
And Illus is going into Turtle Rock here, so we'll get to see how this turns out. See what's on Vidi, what is in Pyramid Fairy. I'd assume Elm may go there next because having the 5-6 crystals done, 10 bombs. So Vidi's not the answer, but the red crystal could be in Pyramid Fairy.
Yep, and the other option is what Illus is going through. So we're very soon gonna find out. Oh, T-Rock was the answer. And Honestly, that if Illus is keeping track of locations and his hints, he's in go mode right now. He knows the boots have to be in swamp. He's got everything else he needs. He can just go mode T-Rock.
Elminster is coming back, though. Looks like coming back to do Turtle Rock.
Yeah, it's a very good choice by him in this situation. It's going to pay off well, and he's got the dungeon advantage. He's going to be a little bit later getting into that knowledge go mode, but he lost himself the advantage he had. It's going to be about even now.
I would still say he's got a lead because he's got that dungeon in hand here with Misery Mire already taken care of, but...
Yeah, another thing about the big key in Mire was usually what's one of the later checks, so that's going to take longer than if it were a little bit earlier. So he's still got a little bit of an edge, but he lost a lot of it.
Absolutely, it's definitely anyone's race at this point. And yeah, if Illus has been keeping track of those hints and keeping track of what's still missing and what's still hammerlocked, they'll be in no mode. They'll know where they have to go. And they know they can just bypass a lot of the chest here.
Yep, and we'll get a pretty good idea of how aware the situation Illus is based on what he does with this key coming up from the pokey.
Oh, Elm's going to back out. He's going to go do Swamp Palace first. He's going to save Turtle Rock for last.
I mean, I don't think it really makes a difference which way you do. I personally would have just stayed in T-Rock and gotten it done, but he knows where his boots are. He wants to get them to make T-Rock a little bit quicker and has to climb back up anyway, so he's just heading off this way.
So here's actually the thing. Elm's kind of making a bit of a decision call here because he still has another hammerlock location on his map and has chosen not to do it, as choosing to go to Swamp Palace instead, using the unique item indicator to probably point toward boots being here in the hammerlock location, because he still hasn't done Thieves Town. He has not done the back half of Thieves Town and hasn't checked that big chest, so that would be a quote-unquote hammerlocked location that he has not checked.
Yeah, I don't believe he has checked the hammer pegs either, but this is obviously the highest concentration of hammerlocked items. It said Illus checking Mimic Cave. Mimic Cave is one of the poorer locations in the hint files, so it will always be referred to as in Mimic Cave. So you'll never have a hint that says Hammerlock that means Mimic Cave. So that was kind of a wasted check, but I think that's just a little bit of missing information about that hint.
It's very interesting decision here from Elm to back out and go get the boots out of Swamp Palace. He'll be in go mode first, technically, but he's going to make the trek all the way back up the mountain.
Well, I mean, he has to go back up the mountain for GT anyway, and this way here he's going to have boots for T-Rock. I think it's a bit of a wash in terms of the decision if the boots are in Swamp, which we know they should be, but Elm has less certainty. So if they weren't in Swamp, then it would be a much more questionable call.
Gambella is saying, I'm guessing the desert is boots locked. It is indeed. The big key is hiding up on the torch, so gonna have to get those boots. And Illus just gonna skip Laser Bridge altogether.
Yep, he certainly knows that he just needs one more thing, and Elm will be probably showing us where those boots are at very soon. We're going to be seeing the first Trinex fight from Illus here.
And there's a little bit of a debate in the chat about the hammer-locked hint and whether that counts for TR, as it's been pointed out as in the discussion, because of the fact that in inverted mode, the Turtle Rock is not hammer-locked. It's not within the pool of locations for hammer-locked hints, because I believe all versions of the game use the same hint pool, so that would make sense.
Yep, you are correct. It is planned for the future growth of hints for them to take modes and stuff into consideration. But for this early implementation, it's just, if this is true in all modes, you're good. That said, the other part of the back and forth here with Mimic Cave, as I mentioned earlier, since it's a worst possible location area, it will always have its own dedicated hint. It will never have a vague hint.
And indeed, as we were talking about that, we did find the boots in the back of Swamp, in the basement chest there. So Elminster is in item go mode now.
Yep, so he's in go mode first. He is tied in dungeons, but he'll be regaining a slight dungeon lead here momentarily. He's gonna just have to go clear Skull Woods, which is very quick, clear Desert, which is very quick, and then go back up to T-Rock. Meanwhile, Illus has to do Skull Woods, Desert, Swamp, and Mire.
Right, so that means really Illus is essentially the Swamp Palace clear behind at this point. But I have to see here how the...
Yeah, Illus is, as this has bounced out a little bit, as this has kind of reached its connection point, he's a little bit further behind than I actually anticipated. Not outside the realm of comeback, but not in a very great position.
Yeah, I think really the gap right now is probably about that Thieves Town clear in the back half. That seems to be about the time gap here at this point between Elm and Illus. And we know Elm's not going to go back to Thieves Town and do that.
Now it's up to him how he wants to route these remaining dungeons. There's really no optimal thing other than doing T-Rock last. He's gonna do Desert first.
Yeah, if the order he's got to clear these three, there's really no easy way to do it. Illus is gonna be able to do Desert Palace, Misery Mire back to back here, so that will be kind of helpful. But Misery Mire is going to be a fairly long clear because of the fact that he's got all the items to clear out to get to the big key.
Yep, depending on how Illus likes to route Mire, it might be a little bit earlier than it could be. But no matter how you route it, that chest next to the big chest is going to be a pretty late one.
Yeah, so Illus isn't going to do it, but if Illus go mode to Swamp Palace and just check those two chests on the bottom, not going to see it here, obviously. Going to be looking for those boots, knowing that they're in here. But that would save a lot of time, too.
Just gotta hope that he does not go left side.
Nope,
and
not
he
going
does.
outside.
Hooray, the correct decision has been made.
Indeed, that can be a bad gamble sometimes, depending on if you're looking for a single item, but it can also be a really good gamble if you're just trying to save some time and you want to play the odds. And in this case, this was the correct play to make.
I'm preparing for the Lamulus fight. 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out. And Elm takes out Lamulus in the blink of an eye.
And Illus now has the boots, hopping into go mode here. A couple minutes behind. It's going to be a little bit of an execution race at this point to see who can get this done better.
And the flute to the 3 to go ahead and go do Skull Woods. And then it'll be the trek back up Death Mountain to head back into T-Rock yet again. Oh, also, a comment in chat just reminded me. Left Side Swamp is also its own hint location, so they should know the boots aren't actually on left side.
Nice quick kill on Argus 2 there. You get Bug Net, of course.
The Bug Net, everyone's favorite item in swordless mode. Outside of swordless mode, most people don't really enjoy getting it all that much. Well, I should say most people at this level of play don't really enjoy getting it that much. People who are, you know, learning the rando, it is a fantastic item to get. But by the time you're at, you know, top 96 tournament level, that's a little bit less value.
Yep, and we're seeing Illus go ahead, and as we thought, looking to do Misery Mire Desert Palace back to back here.
Going right on through the back of Skull Woods, no issue, gonna take on Mothula, who, with Fighter Sword, only takes 4 hits, but, okay, gets a poke dash for the first ones. Mothula has his lovely quirk of not taking damage if he hits spikes, but Elm takes him out super quick regardless. Elm is heading up to T-Rock next. He'll just have to go through and clear that out. We know it's a good go mode T-Rock. You don't need to do laser bridge. You just kind of flow right through it. So it will be a relatively quick clear, as quick as T-Rock can be.
So indeed, Elements are looking in pretty good position right now to get to GT first.
Yeah, at this point, with how much Illus has to do, I would guess Elm will be in GT a little while before Illus gets his last crystal. Maybe about a couple minutes, assuming that execution here in Mire is pretty decent.
Yeah, because Lamolus isn't going to take too much time to clear out in Desert Palace. You just need to go back in and get the key, hop out, and it's like a minute to get to the back and kill him. It's a very quick fight.
Illus is going to the left side of Mire, so that will be a little bit of potential time save taken away. He's going to be going through the very long, annoying cutscene. Oh, or not. Never mind. That's an interesting route through Mire, and I kind of like it.
Yeah, that cutscene's a huge time sink, so skipping that and getting over to the big key over here is going to save a little bit more time for Illus. Not going to be enough to pull him even with Elm right now, but still going to be gaining some time back here. So we know that Elm did a full clear on the initial entry.
Yeah, this will make it a little bit closer.
I think definitely Elm's got some definite time gain from the routing choice he made to do these dungeons and just getting Ice Palace out of the way quickly enough.
Yeah, if he hadn't made the mistake of starting to flute away from Death Mountain when he did, I think he would have been probably even a couple minutes farther ahead.
It would have been, yeah, fairly decisive lead right now.
So Illus is midway through the dark rooms, going to... Ooh!
Spooky action!
I didn't even realize he had that set up or see it the first time, and then all of a sudden, hey!
I always love me some spooky action glitch.
I love that glitch, and I love how it got discovered. Just someone playing rando being like, why did it seem like Cold Stare got hit by this fire rod when I shot it downwards? And then this, like, explosive glitch discovery over the next, like, 2 days. It was really fun to watch.
That's the best thing about glitches sometimes too, is that, you know, this game's almost 30, it's getting close to 30 years old at this point. I think we're at 20, we're almost at, yeah, we'll be 30 in what, 2021, and people are just finding all kinds of little things that you can get the game to do that, you know, 30 years ago you would have never thought anyone would even try these things.
Yeah, poor developers probably putting a lot of time into what people are gonna do. Not expecting people to still be playing this and trying to do every little weird thing they could 30 years later.
Somewhere Miyamoto's getting in a time machine, being like, I have to go back and fix this.
Just leave spin speed at least. That's a fun one.
Yep, Elminster making his way through the basement roller coaster here of Turtle Rock. Is Illus now on the way to Lamola's. So it might be time to start thinking of that number. And don't put it in chat yet. Don't put it in chat yet. I know every time I say it, people start putting it in chat. Not yet. We're gonna do it in just a moment here.
We're not going to have long to do it, so as a bit of an explanation for those of you who are new, once Elm finishes this boss, we have a little game we'll end up playing about where the GT Big Key is. If you are a sub or supporter of Speed Gaming by way of giving 250 bits or more to any of the Speed Gaming channels, then you'll be able to enter in for a play on the leaderboard. If you are not, then you can still play the game, just you won't be able to get on the leaderboard. Illus takes out Lamola's, and Elm takes out Trinex, and Crystal 7 obtained. So, what are you thinking for that big key?
You know, trying to think here what 16 would be. I put 16 in the chat, so I feel like I have to stick with that because I was gonna put 19 in there, but somebody beat me to the punch, so don't beat me to the punch. So I'm gonna say 16 this time. Flip that 9 around. I don't know where that puts me within logic, but we'll just say 16 is a good number. How about you, Ventus?
That seems fair. With the way the seed has gone, I'm going to go with 21. But that 21 is going to be on the right side with no small key in the hope room. So they have to go right and then go left and then go back right. Just seems appropriate. Here we are in the basement. First chest is the mushroom. Second chest is a small key, and Elm is not going to go right. He's going to go left.
Yep. Not necessarily a bad idea. So we're at 2 right now. Number 3 is the compass. And fortunately for all of us, this is not key sanity, therefore the mushroom is not the answer. So it's not 24.
Unless I'll make some really weird decisions, at least.
Oh, he could, but here we go. 5, 6. That's 4 and 5. I'm sorry. 6 is the key. Powder 7 is the map. So we found 2 of the 3 dungeon items. I was doing Dark Magician strats. So you can go right now and get these 4 over here.
Back and forth, back and forth. Illus with a very nice moth kill as well, getting his 7th crystal. He's going to be on his way up GT, and it's close enough where routing could make this very close.
Absolutely. The Dark Magician strat could pay off for Elm. It could backfire badly too, so we'll have to see here if Illus makes a decision on routing for the big key fight that turns out to be beneficial.
Yeah, if the big key is in Rando Room in particular, that could give a very decent edge for more standard strats.
So it's number 11.
Yep, 8 through 11, all junk. Now the question is, does he go full Dark Magician all the way to Ice Armos? And the answer appears to be yes.
Doing the full pull.
Welcome to one of the least commonly seen rooms in Randomizer.
Yes, this and the big key room, the big chest room usually. Though that does tend to show up a little bit more in Key Sanity because of the fact that they could be an item in there that you need, or a key that you might need in there.
And there you see the letter E, in case you want to use Link to the Past in, you know, some teaching of small children.
So number 12, Bob's chest. Get the powder. No, he's gonna powder Bob. But Bob doesn't disappear.
Well, he was gonna powder Bob.
12 is just gonna be half magic, which is nice. So Armos Knights will be 13, 14, and 15. Which for my unfortunate soul means that number 16, if it's not here, is gonna be double firebar room. That's almost never there. Hey,
there it is, vanilla big key.
There we go. It's going to be number 13. The lucky number here. So the Dark Magician strats actually pay off a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. And shout outs to the first subber supporter who was able to get the correct guess, Princess Kitty. You win nothing really, but you're gonna have your name, you know, put on the leaderboard, so that's, you know, kind of like something.
Yeah, that's great.
So Illus going right to begin with, probably gonna do a kind of standard mirror go left check. Which, if he went straight to Ice Armos right now, this would be very close, but if he does what I would expect him to do, he's going to have quite a bit of room to try to make up on someone hard to make room up on. Is getting underway in the gauntlet through the first... Well, no, not yet. Okay, this room is annoying, but he made it through.
Yeah, these rooms are very annoying because of the combination of the BMOS, and especially once you get into these last 2 rooms, you get the ice in here, and the treads as well make it very, very difficult to get these enemies to cooperate sometimes.
You've got the nice hit of the Fire Rod, followed by the slash of the Zizak, and now on to Lammo 2.
Using the Fire Rod to take him down real quick. And we're just talking about satisfaction. This is going to be the most satisfying room in the game. Parts 1. Done.
I really want to know if that room was made first, or if the Cane of Samaria's secondary effect was made first.
I don't know, but here's the most satisfying room in the game, part 2, and it's done. And now we get to go to this room with all the torches in it.
Yep, and with a half full, half magic bar, you can just use Fire Rod on all 4 torches and still have enough magic for the ones upstairs. So with nothing else to look for, having tempered swords, silver arrows, none of these last 4 chests are going to get opened most likely. He will probably powder the anti-fairy and the bunny beam at the top here.
Yeah, I have 2.5 hearts. You might as well go ahead and get that refill as well. Because he's not looking for anything else. I mean, he could get tempered sword to Mother, but that's not gonna really do anything at this point. You got silvers, you've got bow, you've got everything you need to go ahead and fight Ganon.
And I can't say for sure, but I'm assuming Elm is familiar with the 1-in-1 cycle for Ganon, which makes Butter literally no time save over tempered.
Yeah, you'd have to think that as Illus going through and opening the left side rando room.
So he's going to be getting his big key probably about the time Elm is starting his Ganon fight. Although this is a very good Aga too. That'll do it. The wizard is dead. The pig rises from him and turns into a bat for some reason. And we are near the end as such.
The seed has logic, but doesn't mean the game has any logic.
Yep, topping off the ghost pig turning into a bat that turns corporeal, with the duck magically finding his way into the Dark World for the first time the whole game. The end of this gets really strange, and I've never really understood it since I was a kid.
I haven't either. It's just kind of like, you know what? We're at the end of the game. They won't notice. Bet you didn't know. Bet you didn't know you can't hum while holding your nose closed. That is correct. I have actually tried that after seeing that clue. That little bit of flavor text.
So Elm missed the double spin, which prevented him from getting the 1-in-1 cycle, but then Ganon was just oh so kind to go in this top left corner for the easy 6 spins to just take out phase 2 immediately.
I think, Benzine, I think the thing that we determined previously was that the duck is the most pure thing in the game because it has both the same light and dark world forms. It is therefore always a duck.
But then you play inverted, and the old man also has the same light world and dark world form.
The old man is also a duck.
That seems like a logical conclusion. So Elm moving on to phase 4, you find the arrows in the light world. Yes, they did. And that should be a double? Yep.
Oh, Elm. Don't give me a heart attack like that, buddy.
Very nice Ganon with that risky little moment there. And assuming he doesn't walk off the edge, that will be GG.
I think he should be okay now.
That will do it. Elm finishes with an official SRL time of 1 hour, 53 minutes, and 36 seconds. Which was really, really good for how stupid that seed was.
Yeah, it was not easy to figure out for quite a while, and it wanted you to dip and dive and dodge and duck into all these different dungeons. And eventually, it kind of cleared up once you got those boots at the Swamp Palace, and it was just like, okay, you got 4 more dungeons to go complete now, so...
Yep, and we'll see about getting Elm in here for an interview. It looks like he's already in the setup room, so he should be joining us soon. Speak of the devil. Welcome, Elm. GG.
Thank you.
GG, Elm. How you feeling after that, man? That seed was
That seed,
crazy.
my collection and time are both higher than the key sanity I just did.
Sounds about right.
It was a very weird seed. It had you guys dipping into those light world dungeons very early and multiple times to get items that you needed to progress, and then even with that, it was just kind of okay. You know, I get one thing here, and it wants me to go somewhere else now and get one thing, and
Yeah, back and forth. Like I went up Tower of Hera and like really happy that hint was there. It said the bow was in the basement, so I was just like, okay, I'll go, you know, get the key and then go back down and get the bow. And I'm like, are you serious? The key's on Moldorm. I can't kill him. Or okay, I guess I'll follow this book. And then book gets me hammer, and I'm like, okay, really? Like, all right.
it's like, hey, go back now.
So I learned two things this seed that I didn't know before. That's that Ice Rod Start is a valid weapon for escape, and Spoiler Log Seeds are a valid med for this tournament.
Very interesting. Yeah, that was interesting start with the Ice Rod. Having to, I believe we saw you use the Frozen Guard to throw at the Ball and Chain Guard to kill him.
Yeah, that was fun. Normally with Berta, I'll get 2 pots, but the card is just so convenient.
Yeah, we saw Illus use the 2-pot method, which a lot of people use at the start when they don't have the sword or something similar like the hammer. It was a treat to watch you do that at the start. But yeah, you had,
that was. Go ahead.
I was gonna say you had the lamp hiding out in Mini Woldorm Cave, which hinted to go to Eastern Palace, and then the gloves were there, which was like, okay, now I can go with the mirror. Now I can go to Death Mountain and go do Tower of Hera. And you have to get the book, then go to Desert Palace, get the hammer, go back to Tower of Hera, get the bow, go back to Eastern Palace and beat Armos Knight.
Yeah, I think that I routed the seed really, really well, and that like delaying going to I wanted to delay going to Eastern Pod for more information on, you know, how much of Pod do I want to do, and then I got the information that is like, oh, okay, all of it, cool.
Yeah, the green pendant turned in there as Illus is now taking on Ganon up to phase 2. Yeah, Illus actually did that blind, went and did pod full clear blind and found the cape, and then found the Titansmiths up in Bumper Cave.
Yeah, I figured that was not too unlikely for him to do, and it wasn't going to be much slower. Might even be faster, actually, not walking to Village first.
So one thing I do want to ask you about Elm, how did you feel that moment your flute menu came up after getting the cane?
I was like, I should not have done that. I knew I'd made a mistake, so I was just hoping flippers for Unvidi. But like I had no intentions to beat Turtle Rock then, because I knew Fire Rod was locked behind flippers, and I was mainly looking for flippers. So it's like, it's really unlikely flippers are going to be there. What I should have done, what I instantly regretted not doing, was I should have checked the front and seen if the key layout would let me get through without Fire Rod, and go from there. And then, you know, when I went back there right after to do that, so flippers first chest, great. I might have just thrown my lead that I feel like I had.
Yeah, it was, Illus was just like a couple minutes behind you going in there, or going up Dark Death Mountain. He was going up as you were finishing up Hookshot Cave, and he went into T-Rock, so like right after you left, we saw him get flippers, and we're like, oh, that was a bad decision.
Yeah, I guess it made things interesting for sure, I'm sure. Also, the double dip mire was dumb. I kind of wasn't thinking when I went into it.
I'm not gonna lie, I kind of felt like that was a pretty good choice of a play, just because there weren't a whole lot of locations left and you were right there.
No, it wasn't. Flute would have gotten me back there really quickly if I wanted to go back later, and Hookshot Cave was really hot at that point.
True. And we are joined by Illus, GG.
GG.
What a seed.
What
Indeed.
a root seed. Like this early game, man. Going up Tower of Hera, expecting to find the small key, and not being able to fully clear it. That was rude.
Indeed.
It was
GG
rude,
there.
but it wasn't like it wasn't. I don't want to say it was bad because there weren't too many pitfalls it let you do. But the fact that it was so linear and roundabout and needed, most everything to be done, made it very equalizing. So it made small mistakes really matter.
Yeah, I was reading the seed, and I basically had the feeling that I couldn't skip anything. I did delay Catfish until the very end, though, so that was pretty bad.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I agree with Elm's assessment of the seed. And by the way, GG Illus, you did a very good job. I would say that it did really punish any extra checks that you guys made, more so than other seeds I've seen, because of the fact that everything was just kind of like one after another, after another, after another. It kind of felt like, especially in between like the lull times there, where you would have a little bit more flexibility, but once you started to get those items, it was kind of like, okay, you have to go here and get this thing because that's where the next one is right now. Go there now.
I also was really scared for most of it because I feel like my execution is better, but the fact that we didn't have boots for so long, and the fact that we had just really good item set, red mail, very little chance of dying, meant that I wasn't going to be likely to make up a lot of time there.
I'm not bad with low HP seeds either, I'd say. Like, we both love inverted, and I think we both get through that just fine and all that. What rubbed me the wrong way was that my early game execution was pretty bad. Like, at least from my perspective. And then it gradually grew better, and that was weird.
Yeah, I think the big difference really between the times was Illus, you did a full clear of East Town, maybe looking for that hammer locked item being in the big chest, and it wasn't there, unfortunately.
Yeah, exactly. I was even like the first I was dipping the first 4, and then I left. And after doing Smiths and Hammer Packs and all that, I was like, it's not unlikely that DT Big Chest has something, so I went back in there again. Unfortunately, it was absolutely nothing, and a total waste of time, but I don't think this time would have made it up. Like, it's maybe a time loss of 3 or 4 minutes, but not more than that.
Yeah, it was actually fairly close throughout. You guys both did very well on reading the seed for the most part. There weren't any mistakes that were like somebody went way too far out of the way to get something, and there were a couple of times where you guys actually read the seed without having to even knowing what the next step was, and you just did the right thing at the right time, and it was I think that kind of really kept it a little bit closer, especially Illus making the play into Palace of Darkness and Eastern Palace back to back without knowing that the green pendant turn-in item was the cape that you needed to get the Titan Spit, which Elminster knew that he needed to do that.
Yeah, I was pretty happy that it turned out that way, but where was that hint for the turn-in actually?
That was the Swamp Palace one.
Yeah.
I didn't bother reading that because I was basically in go mode already by the time I got to Swamp. You probably just did it after Hype Cave, but I don't really like going there just for the hint.
That's reasonable to think, yeah, because it is a little bit of extra time that you have to go there and check it without actually being able to go in and complete the dungeon for the most part, because you have to have the the water drained out for that.
Yeah, it's hard to decide whether it's worth it to go out of your way for those. It's kind of hit or miss.
I like that pun.
But yeah, my tournament luck seems to continue. I always get seeds like this, in which I skip one location forever and get punished for it. It's incredible.
I know that feel way too well.
I can see that, Mentos.
Regardless, though, you two put on a fantastic race here. It was back and forth. There were some times where it looked like you were taking the lead, sometimes where it looked like Elm was. It kind of was really tough to judge till near the end exactly how it was going to play out.
Yeah, good stuff. If it was fun to watch, then it was worth it. Like, there were definitely some seeds more fun to play than this one, because it was just so absolutely linear, and you couldn't really afford to skip stuff. But in the end, it's still random, it's still fun, and it's fun racing against good people. So I'm pretty happy overall.
I'm pretty happy, but I was going to be really mad at myself if I had lost because of taking so many trips up Death Mountain, because I knew, like, I knew so hard that fluting away was a mistake as soon as I did it.
I did an extra trip up Death Mountain as well. Like, I was looking for some progression, and before I went to Catfish, I've gone to Super Bunny Cave and got my amazing shield. It was really nice.
Indeed. So yeah, thank you guys both for running this and letting us commentate this awesome race. Any final comments you guys want to make real quick here?
Well, I scheduled a lot of races for today. I'm 2 for 3 now, and my third one is at 8:30, so in 7 hours.
Yeah, I can see that. You got you have Ganon Open, Uncle Assured, Randomizer race against Phylian.
Yeah, that was Phylian's pick. I don't think that's getting a restream.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it at this time, but
he and I got one for game 1, and that was fun. So, yeah, I don't know. That's about it.
I wish you had created this seed, then I would have had a 114. I'm usually too lazy to make seeds. Like, usually for races, I'll just let other people do it. So there aren't too many elm seeds floating around, but they're kind of, I feel like the rare ones that pop up are kind of interesting. I made a few for the combo randomizer tournament for other players, and I was told those were good watches because of Mitz being in some really weird spots. Oh, interesting.
But yeah, apparently I give Illus good seeds when we race, and he has beaten me a few times that I've gotten salty about. So I think that's why he chose standard for this.
Yes, exactly. It's not really about tryharding, but about memeing, and I like to have fun. Though I guess I lost this one as well, so I'm not gonna give up though. Like, I'm gonna do my best to try and get that second spot, even though there's still a long way and I probably need some luck, but I'll try my best to not get beaten by you.
Well, that's great to hear, Elias. Very happy to hear that, and it is going to be a bit of a it's always going to be a bit of an uphill climb, but it's still very much doable to try and get that one of those 2 seeds, and I think it's really going to be shaking out to be a pretty close race for that second seed here in this group with the amount of talent. Oh my goodness, there's some groups that I've looked at that are like this one, and I think it's Group O, where it's just like, how are all these people all together in the same seed? Like,
I've had terrible qualifiers.
Yeah, mine weren't as good as I would have liked them to be, but yeah, Drac I think has first seed in our group on lock. So I was really happy I got a win against him earlier today. But yeah, fighting for that second spot's gonna be really tough. I think I need wins against like Zelgadison in particular, and I guess Illus. This was fairly pivotal for me because like those are the two people that are most in contention for second seed. So if I want second seed, I need to beat them to give them more losses.
Yeah, I've got a similar sentiment. For me, this was pretty pivotal to just stay in the race, and it's unfortunate for me that I lost this one today. But yeah, can't do anything about it. Just play better next time.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where sometimes even when you play your best, the seed just kind of doesn't want to cooperate with you, and there's always so much you can do as a runner to get it to cooperate. But good race for both you guys. It was very fun and entertaining to watch. I'm very, very certain that our wonderful chat definitely enjoyed that. So if we can, let's go ahead and make sure to follow Illus and Elminster. They both are great people doing great things with Rando and whatever else that they normally like to stream too. So be sure to check it out and give them a follow.
Yeah, I do a lot of Super Metroid Rando and stuff.
Oh, yes.
There's a league going on for that. It's pretty cool.
Awesome. Yeah, Super Metroid Rando is great. So be sure to check that out. I was gonna say I thought I remembered you running a lot of Super Metroid Elm.
Yeah.
But I also want to say thank you to CyberChowX for doing the tracking today for us. Always a well important and very vital job here in these rando races, is keeping track of everything that's been checked. And I also want to thank Mentos Man for co-commentating again with me today. Always a pleasure working with you, sir.
Right back at you on that one. It was a good race and good time coming with you.
Indeed, so make sure to follow all those wonderful people. And as far as more rando, we have more of it today. So I know Elm's got his race that's going to be coming up here. He's got an 8:30, but that's not going to be restreamed. However, right back here in about 45 minutes, Glenn and Frame are going to be going to Game 3 with randomly chosen settings. It's going to be hard mode, Randomizer, Ganon open, Uncle Assured. So that's going to be crazy. And we're not done with the Frame love here on Speed Gaming 3 because they've got another match at 6 o'clock against Dainty. That's an open soreless normal game. So be sure to check those out. We've also got right now going on Speed Gaming 2, the finals of the German A Link to the Past tournament, randomizer tournament is going on between Thelaine and Dustin. It's game 4. Thelaine's up 2-1, and they're about 45 minutes into that. So that's going to be interesting to see. Do we see a game 5 forced, or do we see a champion crowned here? That's going to be on Speed Gaming 2. And over on the big channel, Speed Gaming 1 right now is the Super NES Superstars Marathon. Looks like right now they're doing PTO, Pacific Theater of Operations, which is a real-time strategy sim game from Koei back for the Super NES. It's an interesting game. But yeah, you can check that out. That'll be going on all weekend with a whole bunch of different games going on. So if you want to take a little bit of a break from the rando action, or if we have a momentary break in our schedule, might be worth checking that out.
Can I just say one thing real quick about that?
Absolutely.
It's going on all next week too.
All next week too. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's going on through the 25th. So you got plenty of time to check it out, but why not check it out today too if you have a little bit of free time? Yeah,
I'm sure a lot of people are taking some PTO to watch it too.
Ah, nicely done there. Nicely done there, sir. So yeah, I think that will that'll wrap it up here. We'll kind of clear the room out and let the next group come in here for the next match. But as always, I'm Neon Tiger. Thank you so much for watching. Good night, good afternoon, good night, good luck, good RNG. Remember, someone out there loves you and we love you too. And Mentos, I'll give you the last word.
Good. Take care, everyone. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your weekend.